What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. You guys, Derek and Cody with you as always. And guys, we are going to do the top 10 players of the 2023 season for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, we probably could have done this a little bit earlier, but kind of brainstorming in this video came to mind. And I feel like we haven't done this. We actually haven't done this kind of video in a while. So I feel like it's a good one to have. Now, remember, guys, this is all subject for opinion, okay? We're not suggesting that these are the best players on the Indianapolis Colts. We're simply taking a whole bunch of factors into account for the Indianapolis Colts and saying this is why we thought they were some of the best performers for the Indianapolis Colts this year. So let's go ahead and hop into it. We'll go ahead and start with the offensive side. So we had 5 players for the offense, 5 players for the defense, okay? So we had Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Bernhard Raimann, Quentin Nelson, and Ryan Kelly. Now, in no particular order, that's just the players that we feel were the best performers of the 2023 season. And Cody, we went with 3 offensive linemen here. I guess that shouldn't be a surprise. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, the bounce back that they had, obviously Ryman, not a bounce back, but him really ascending into being a franchise guy at left tackle, where you feel confident, you don't have to worry about the position for a long time. That was definitely one of the biggest wins for the Colts this year with one of their young players, was seeing Ryman kind of take that and really grow. And obviously, he's still not done growing. He's going to get better. But to see him take that kind of leap was definitely encouraging to see. But yeah, I mean, Derek, I think one thing that you see with obviously Jonathan Taylor on this list, I mean, just the amount of games played for Jonathan Taylor, let's be honest, it wasn't a lot this year. He didn't play a lot of these games. He obviously had, the first couple games of the season because of that injury with the PUP and all that stuff. He missed the first 4 weeks. Then he had the thumb injury, the surgery, the minor surgery he had that kept him out a number of weeks. But when he was on the field, obviously, he was really, really fantastic. And I think, Derek, next year, if all goes well, Jonathan Taylor will be on this list again. But I think for 2023 strictly, that's why, a couple other guys weren't on this list as well, because they didn't play in all 17 games. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. And pretty much every one of these players, I know not every one of them played in 17 games, but they played a good chunk of the season, right? And so when you talk about Michael Pittman, I mean, he took another step forward where now you're like, he can be your number one receiver. He proved that even playing with Gardner Minshew for a good number of the games this year. He showed that he can be that guy, and the offense really runs through him when it comes to the passing game. And so he definitely took a step forward. Josh Downs was consistently making plays. Obviously he broke the rookie record. We know all that. But he was second on the team in receiving, so you definitely have to throw him in on that list as well. And definitely was really, really had a stretch there, Derek, where he was just lighting it up. And then obviously you look at, Ryan Kelly, Quentin Nelson, both guys that, kind of had down years a year ago in 2022, especially Ryan Kelly. And we know obviously all the stuff he was dealing with, but definitely great to see that both of those guys kind of got back to their form. They kind of got back to what we were used to seeing them doing. And mauling guys and, protecting the quarterback and just opening running lanes, all that sort of stuff. And so, yeah, when you look at this offense in general, I mean, a big reason why the Colts were able to do what they were doing was because of that offensive line. Despite the fact they were missing Taylor, missing Anthony Richardson for a good chunk of the season, they still were able to be very, very good offensively at times. And I think the offensive line was a big reason why. Some of these other guys as well, the 2 receivers, they definitely helped as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The offensive line had such a huge bounce back year from all different aspects. I mean, I was half tempted to put Braden Smith on this one as well, but of course he missed too much time to get thrown into that equation. But that left side of that offensive line, man, it got really good this year. Fantastic to see them actually put it all together and be able to improve. The last 2 here, wide receivers, Pittman and Downs. Pittman, who once again had another really great season for the Indianapolis Colts. I don't think a lot of people quite understand just how good his season numbers actually were, given everything that happened. He had the most receptions and most yards of his entire career this season, tied his touchdown total from last year as well, and had his longest reception ever in a game. So, I mean, Michael Pittman had a really great year this year, Cody, and you could argue that he was at times the only real receiving threat that Indy had for at times during this season. And he did that with obviously inconsistent quarterback play. And then, of course, Josh Downs, we saw what he did this year, did everything that was asked of him. He did as much as he could, given the circumstances at the quarterback position as well, and had a couple of really big plays that helped the Indianapolis Colts move the ball. I mean, what can you say about these two wide receivers for the Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah, Pittman really showed you his value when he missed that Falcons game, didn't he? I mean, the passing offense came to a jarring halt when Michael Pittman wasn't in there. And so, yeah, you definitely saw the impact of not having him out there. And so the offense does run through him when it comes to the passing game. And, Josh Downs, we all thought that might be the steal of the draft. And he certainly is living up to performing well when given the opportunity. And obviously, you want to see him take another step forward here, be a little bit more consistent. Now, obviously, not a lot. Part of that wasn't his fault as well, but you just want to see him continue to get better, and we all think he will. So, yeah, these two guys are definitely very dynamic for the Colts pretty much all year, especially Pittman. He was so consistent. And Josh Downs had some key plays that won you a couple games, honestly, Derek. My mind immediately goes to that Patriot game where Josh Downs a little banged up, but he makes one of the crucial catches in that game that help you out. And he's just a guy that he just got it. I don't know what it is exactly, but some guys got it, some guys don't. And Josh Downs just has it. He just has, he just can get in the right place at the right time and make the play when you need him to make the play. And I don't know, it's just like something that you can't really describe very well, but Josh Downs he's different, man. He just really is. So, yeah, I think he definitely deserves to be on this list for just the ways that he really helped the Colts offense take it to another level in 2023, and obviously hope he will do that in 2024 and moving forward as well.
Yep, absolutely. And I remember you were talking about with Jonathan Taylor. That was definitely a name that we were tempted to put on the list, but with all the injuries that, he didn't play the first 4 games of the season and then had to miss a game or two as well at the end of the year, wasn't, a huge factor for a good chunk of the year. So that was really one of the main reasons why this sort of list went down. But let's go ahead, hop to the defensive side of things. 5 players for the defense: DeForest Buckner, Ebukam, Zaire Franklin, Kenny Moore, and Julian Blackman. Again, here, Cody, 2 guys on the defensive line, 1 linebacker, and 2 secondary guys. We can start with Zaire. Again, broke the franchise record again, set by himself in tackles. He's always been the leader, the vocal leader of that defense. What do you say about Zaire Franklin being a top 10 performer?
Yeah, definitely well deserved. It's almost like it would be almost a travesty to not put this guy on the list for breaking his own record in the franchise tackles. So, yeah, definitely no doubt about it. Zaire has become, over the last 2 seasons when he's played full time, he's been that captain in the middle. So, absolutely, you put your captain on there, the guy that the defense really, the lifeblood of that defense in a lot of ways. And so, definitely Zaire, just a tackling machine out there. Yeah, so absolutely, Zaire deserves to be on this list, no question.
Yeah, and then the 2 defensive linemen we had on the list, Buckner and Samson Ebukam. Ebukam, who came in, had, I think, more sacks and was more efficient this year than what most of us could have thought he would have been at his first year. And, of course, DeForest Buckner just out there, being a menace this year. He always faces some of the most double teams that you'll ever see. So his production always seems to be a little flat. But again, it's just because offenses know what that guy can do if he is given the opportunity to get one-on-one. So Ebukam and Buckner being the two defensive linemen here. What do you think of those guys?
Yeah, and Ebukam not just a pass rusher either. He was really strong in run defense. So, I mean, and you do feel like there's more to tap into when it comes to getting after the passer. I really do feel like he can even take it up to another level in 2024. But yeah, I mean, Ebukam, the highest graded defender on the Colts defense, according to PFF. So definitely deserves to be on this list. Definitely exceeded a lot of our expectations. And so really great to see that. Really nice find by Chris Ballard and company last offseason. And then obviously DeForest Buckner. While the stats may not always be crazy, he's still a guy that is so dang good in that middle. I mean, he is just unbelievable, DeForest Buckner is. And man, you just think if you could get him another partner in there, like when it comes to, getting after the quarterback in the interior, oh man, like how good could this Colts defensive line be? DeForest Buckner's been the model of consistency. He's been so consistent with the Colts ever since being traded in 2020. And so what can you say about DeForest Buckner except, I mean, this guy has been the heart and soul of your defensive line for the last couple of years and just continues to just be that force in the middle. And he's the guy that I think, Derek, if he wasn't getting all the double teams and all that stuff, I do think he would have double-digit sacks every single year. I really do believe that because he is that good of a player. Even though he's getting a little bit up there in age, he is still so good. So, yes, DeForest Buckner 100% needs to be on this list. And even if the stats don't always stay like, oh, my gosh, like he's one of the, best sackers in the NFL or whatever, he's incredible. So, yes. DeForest Buckner does a lot of the dirty work, a lot of the stuff you don't see, but he's still good enough to get you 8-9 sacks per year. So, yep, absolutely DeForest Buckner.
All right. And then the final two, the secondary guys, Kenny Moore and Julian Blackmon. Kenny Moore, who had a terrible 2022 season, really did a phenomenal job rebounding in 2023 and getting back to the same old Kenny Moore that we're used to seeing ever since he got to Indianapolis. It was really great to see there. And then Julian Blackmon, who was actually starting at strong safety for the first time in his young NFL career. And he took that and pretty much had the best statistical year of his career, even after missing the final 3 games of the NFL season for the Indianapolis Colts. What do you say, Cody, about these two secondary guys who had some drastically improved years from 2022?
Two guys that were on contract years and two guys that definitely earned a strong consideration to be back with Indianapolis in 2024. I mean, Kenny Moore, you already talked about him. I think the most disappointing Colt in 2022, no doubt about it, especially on that defensive side from where your expectations were to what he performed on the field. I know he was dealing with some different injuries, so that definitely didn't help in 2022, but just had a fresh start, a fresh mindset in 2023 and really started to ball really from snap one. And so great comeback story for him a year after kind of a slump for him, his worst year as a pro turned into one of his better years as a pro. So absolutely, he's a guy that you want long-term for the Colts. And then Julian Blackmon, a young safety, a guy you took, back in 2020 in the 3rd round and, made that transition like you talked about the strong safety. And I really felt like, Derek, he played even better than he's ever played. And so you definitely need to bring him back. And both these guys, the two veterans in that extremely young DB room, I think it's very critical for the Colts to bring, if not one of these guys back, I would say both of these guys. I really do think they proved their worth and proved their value. Blackmon, I know, had the injury again towards the end of the year. So you're like, okay, do you want to bet on him? Probably not playing all 17 games, but when he does, he plays at a pretty good level. Is it worth it? The Colts will have to consider that. But regardless, yes, these two players in 2023 were very, very good for the Colts and started to bring a little bit of stability to a lot of instability at those positions.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this one, guys. That was our top 10 Colts for the 2023 season. Let us know your thoughts. Was there someone there that you would have added or someone you would have taken off? But go ahead and let us know in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, guys, go Colts.